Hi. It's very
How
good to
are
see you.
you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well as well. It's Wednesday and it's hump day and it's middle of the week. And so where are we at right now? Like I love checking in. Like how's everyone doing?
Well,
And
and tax day.
oh, it is. You're right.
Yes,
It is.
it's
It
tax
is. It
day.
is. Which this is a big day. Like this is the energy out there. It's like so I'm so excited for you guys to meet this week's two-word story guest. And if you want to kick it off and introduce yourself and everything about your beautiful self, that would be amazing.
Sure, thank you.
Of course.
My name is Peggy Dold. I have worked in the music industry for 39 years. 11 months ago, I made the decision to go into music banking, which is a complete, sounds like a total non sequitur and like a major departure, but actually, for me, it just seemed very natural. I was very excited about learning more and embracing and becoming more proficient at the business side and the money side of our industry in order to be of service to my community with whom I've developed very close relationships over all these years. My background in music is a little different. While I was raised in the Midwest and I went to university in Southern California, I entered the music industry at the bottom because that's what everybody did back then, and ended up working my way up through the corporate record label structure. I have actually lived in Los Angeles 6 times. The last time I was here for 12 years. I lived in Manhattan in New York City for 15 years. In the middle of all this, I decided I wanted to work in the Latin market, which is kind of interesting for a gringa from Kansas. And I ended up living in Miami for 5 years, where I worked for Emilio Estefan. And then I was recruited to launch the international division for what was then the largest independent music company in the world. It was a Spanish language company, so it wasn't on everybody's radar, but it was part of the Univision Communications network, behemoth, and it was the Univision Music Group. So I was there for 6 years as its VP of International, and also I was very involved in digital and mobile, as it was at that time when the industry was completely, in media was changing radically. And that company was sold in 2008. I went on my own for 11 years, and with a background very deeply in working international repertoire in the US or US based repertoire ex-US, and marketing primarily, and working with talent and the teams of talent. I started working in more the business side. And as a result of that, with the business side, I was able to learn about this constantly changing business environment. And that is really, I think, what precipitated and preceded my interest in the money business. So when Iberia Bank, which is the name of the bank for whom I worked, although July 1st, actually, we merged with another bank. So now we're Iberia Bank becoming First Horizon Bank. I was offered this position to be Senior VP of Sports and Entertainment, of their Sports and Entertainment division, in charge of music for the country. So it's exciting. The bank is a regional bank, but I call it a regional bank on steroids because we're in 12 states, but we do conduct business in 50. So it's just, for me, it's an opportunity to serve my people and to marry all that which I love so much, which is relationships and talent and art and culture, and things that I believe are really important to society. So I also have felt for years that if I had any purpose on this planet, it was to celebrate diversity and to walk the walk of showing people, the beauty and the magic of all that is different, and all of us who are different from each other, as well as helping artists find their money. So I feel like I'm in a really great place for that, although I have been for years. And that's kind of my little story. I live outside of Nashville now, and I'm just a very happy person, very appreciative of all that you're doing. I'm very happy to be here.
Oh my goodness. That was the most incredible introduction. I was so drawn to your introduction. We did meet through the Jeff Pulver's networking events, and that's where I first was introduced to you. And you're just such a strong, confident, and experienced and beautiful person, and you've experienced and been so many places all over the world and worked with so many people. So I had to ask you to come on and share your 2-word story. I was very enamored and inspired, and you're welcome. So thank you for sharing all that about yourself. It's so beautiful. And I'll ask you next. So what is your 2-word story?
Well, first of all, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about what I think the importance of what you're doing, and the importance of having a story and having a mantra and understanding the power of words and the power of what we think. That has certainly played a role in my life for many years. Like everybody, everyone has ups and downs. I mean, we may not present the downs to the general public, and we may not present the downs to even those closest to us, but everyone has them. There's no question about it. In my immediate family, we have experienced, or people thereof have experienced everything from, losing jobs, to being unemployed for extended periods of time, to losing a home, cancer diagnosis, stillbirth of a 5-month, baby that was 5 months, still in the womb. And so, each of those things can bring such sadness and such despair and such fear. And, the thing that I've learned over the years is that having a toolbox of tools that one can practice or rely on, or a default position that one can go to, is, in my experience, the most valuable thing ever. So when, the despair happens, or the fear happens, or the, oh my gosh, what's happening now, the world is falling apart happens. I mean, what an interesting time for us to be talking. We're in a global pandemic, an unprecedented time, both, health-wise, economic-wise, socially. I mean, things couldn't be in more upheaval. But, going into that place of that you can't have fear and faith at the same time. They simply cannot coexist. So I know that there's probably nothing more important to me on the planet than feeling good. And if I am in a place of fear, I'm not feeling good. If I'm terrified, I'm not feeling good. If I'm, all focused on the what if, and, potentially all the bad things, or I'm focused on just this, whether it's deep sadness, I'm not feeling good. And in order for me to pivot out of that, that's where those tools come in. And that's what your doing comes in. That's where the mantra comes in. Mm-hmm. So for me, years ago, I read the works, not the works, I read a particular massive textbook, if you will, by somebody named Ernest Holmes. And Ernest Holmes wrote this textbook in the 1920s called The Science of Mind. And he's also written other books, but that particular book was very life-changing for me. In the 1920s, this man authored, there's a chapter called The Law of Attraction. And again, the language is dense and it's 1920s, but, a lot has clearly come out of that, movement, if you will. And here we are 100 years later, and we have, an incredibly deep access to so many teachers who teach us so many things, including yourself. And we have access to these people. We have technology, we have videos, we have audio. I mean, our parents didn't have these things. They didn't have these teachings available in such a broad scale and the access to them that we have. And what I believe is that because of because of the impact that Ernest Holmes had on my life, and because of the subsequent studying that I've done with a number of different teachers around the world, literally, over the last, 20 plus years, I had this little toolbox. So when I've hit, that place of, that speed bump, or, I like to call it the bug on the windshield, which really does kind of minimize its gravity in a way. I mean, it feels like it's the worst thing in the world, but I learned that if I can see it as a bug on the windshield, then I start to shift that energy to a place of hope. And it is about pivoting out of that place of despair and fear, because I said earlier, fear and faith cannot coexist. So for me, The mantra that I picked on a couple of occasions was really, it's perfect order. That would be the 2-word thing. I mean, for me, it started with everything is in perfect order, because when I've been afraid I was going to die, literally, when I've been in intensive care, literally, when I've had, these experiences that have just really wanted to plummet me into the depths of, just despair and just, stay there, I knew that that wasn't really an option because it didn't feel good.
Right.
And, and yes, there are steps. I mean, there are degrees of feeling a little better and a little better and a little better. And you can't really go from feeling horrible to feeling great automatically. It's not going to happen. But we can do it incrementally, and we can do it in baby steps, and ultimately get out of that place by using these tools that people like you are teaching us, and just repeat it and ingrain that as a practice into our thought process, or into our emotional process, or into our experiential process, as we are thinking, okay, I can think about how horrible I feel, or I can think about how sad I am, or I can think about how terrified I am, or I can think about, believing and truly, and you might have to fake it till you make it. Trust me, I've certainly done that. Trying, just believing that there has to be a reason for this, and it is in perfect order. And it's really hard to see that when, you're, in my case, I had a 30-year-old niece who was diagnosed at age 28 with stage 4 colon cancer that had metastasized to 7 places. And she had been organic and a yogi since she was 14. So it was this really weird thing, but we were just so devastated because it was so unexpected. And then she was so sick. And we had 2 years with her, and it's really hard to see the perfection in having to bury a 30-year-old. It's hard, who was at the top of her life. Hard to see the perfection in that, no question about it. If somebody's lost their home, they've lost their job, they've lost their spouse, they've lost a child, it's hard to see the perfection in it. So I'm very aware that this might sound a little loony and weird, but I know that in order for me to get to that place of feeling horrible, to getting to a place of feeling better, that if I'm in the feeling the best I possibly can feel, that at that point, that's when I can make a difference, whether it's a difference in my own life or a difference in somebody else's life. And that's the walk I'm choosing to walk. And the only way I can do it is to get myself out of the depths of, that horrible place and move up. And these tools have certainly helped me in that way.
So I'm just grateful that you had said yes to come on and share this wonderful energy and knowledge that flows right from your heart. And because you took the time to, inform yourself, like you're a vessel, and you took care of yourself by giving yourself the tools and that toolkit like you speak of. So perfect order, which is 2 words that comes off of everything's in perfect order, makes complete sense, that mantra. And when we spoke before, you said everything's in perfect order was literally something you had to repeat during these super challenging moments that you're speaking of. So if you think about it, and it was almost natural because you were already in this practice of using a mantra that really could shift your mindset into a more functioning and better place. Like you said, you couldn't have shared anything more better. Like, this was so needed. And I hope that everyone watching has taken away and felt like a sigh of, just a big breath and inhale and exhale with this wonderful information. So a lot of amazing nuggets. Like, I think I should challenge all of you guys to repeat this, re-listen to this whole thing, and really let it sink in for yourself, because you are so powerful. Like, you have the power to shift yourself out of, like you said, that struggling bug on the window place. You have the power to step up, and feel better, and then step up again. We don't have to stay in this place of struggle. And in turn, by using the mantra, like you said, the law of attraction, what it's doing is it's raising your vibration and to a better place. So the universe, the law of attraction, wants to have you attract better things to help you feel better.
Yeah.
It's the law of attraction. It's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing so much goodness with us. I'm
Well,
so
no,
grateful.
you just hit it on the head when you said to make you feel better. Because while it is about the mind and everything, and I do believe everything starts with a thought, while it is in the mind, the key here is to ratchet up the emotion.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. Ratchet up the emotion. This is
I,
so beautiful. I feel
I
like
know.
you need to be a motivational speaker as well. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
I'm serious. I wouldn't just say that. So, well, thank you so much for coming on, and I will share Peggy's information. And you guys, if you want to reach out, and you can send her a DM or a message and say, I was really touched by your story, and, show the love and support. There's definitely a lot of, struggle happening out there, but if you find that you can get to a better place with 2 words, maybe you journal on perfect order for yourself and see how that mantra could shift your mindset to a better place. So thinking perfect order, what's going on right now is everything's happening in perfect order. It's literally, we want to be in control of it, but really we need to just keep positive and let that law of attraction of good things flow to us. Everything's in perfect order. Going through a struggling time, but everything's in perfect order. Perfect order. Mantra, repeat. And we're sending so much love to everybody. Thank you, Peggy, for coming on.
Welcome.
Thank you, guys.
Everyone. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.